Madhu, or
Yeah, sure.
okay, we started the recording, so I don't know if
Hi.
you wanted me to start with the first one or.
Yeah, the first one is good. Thank you so much, Dave. So this is actually our picture when my little one was a year old. It was in our first home. So both of us, like that's my husband Raja, and my son Arya is now 14, but that was his baby picture. So we both got dressed in our traditional Indian outfit. And the color on my hands is actually the henna design that we usually put like for our weddings and all that occasions. So we just dressed up. So usually for all of our anniversaries on October 27th, we both wear the same outfit just to celebrate and remember our roots, I guess, because that's what we would do in India. So yeah, Dave, could you show the next picture? So this is our tradition that we created here in the US because we don't have, I mean, this big of pumpkins in India. And there's a farm near Nisqually bird sanctuary. So that's where like we go every year. And that's become our family tradition where we pick pumpkins from there and then we do all the rides. And there's also, I mean, there's a picture that's missing, but that's where both the kids actually stand against a scale, and it says like this tall, this fall. So every year, like we've been taking pictures, and we actually go and see the migratory birds there, and that's how we kind of enjoy a little bit of the world here. So yeah, okay. I actually forgot to clarify. Um, they how long do I have to talk?
Madhu, as long as you need, but preferably till 1.
Oh, wow. So I can talk a little, and then if you have any questions, like I think, I mean, I would love for it to be like an interactive one. So I'll just share a little bit about our journey and like how Raja and I mean, my husband's name is Raja, and I have two boys. Arav, my younger one is 11 years old, and my older one is 14 years old. And I came here in 1998. So girls in our family never worked for money, or like they even don't even get past high school education. Like mom got married when she was 16, and pretty much it was, I mean, from what I understood after coming to the US is, you know, things were a little bit more conservative in India, in US as well. So yeah. Oh, Dave has more pictures. Yeah, so going to tulips is again one more of our family traditions that we have done. And I just wanted to show a few things from India as well. I'll share that. Actually, Dave, go ahead and share that, and I'll talk about it, and then I'll just talk about my journey too.
Share what?
Just share the slideshow. Yeah, this is my husband's brother's family, which visited us from California this year. So 3 years back, they moved from India. So they have two boys. So we all stayed together for 2 months in our house. So yeah, that was the family picture before they left. And the picture, the fifth one that you have, the next one, Dave. This is actually how an Indian wedding happens. So this is actually the bridal shower, and the bride is actually wearing, like, everything is made of natural material. Like, so there's banana leaves in the back, and all the jewelry that she's wearing is actually made of flowers and flower petals. So those are all actually jasmines, which have been, you know, strung together. And yeah, so I was really lucky to go and see that. And these are all like my cousins and sister-in-laws. So that's the traditional Indian sari, that's 6 yards that we wrap around. And I usually don't like to dress up and nor wear any of that jewelry. That's not me at all. So, so that was one occasion, like when I go to India, I actually, if there is a wedding or something, I try to do what is expected of us and make everybody happy, I guess. So is my face too dark? Like, do you want me to move to a place where it's a little bit, there's more light?
You're fine.
Oh, okay, thanks. So, so I came, so I met my husband actually volunteering for a nonprofit in the US. So it was exactly 20 years back. In fact, the interesting thing is we met on April 20th. And this April 20th, 2020 was actually our 20th anniversary that we met. So it was all like 2020, 2020. So that's where like we took the tulip picture. So we went to the tulips and we took a picture from there. And my journey has been a little interesting because, you know, when I was growing up, I was looking at, I mean, I used to read newspapers and look at somebody to inspire me to do something different other than just cooking and maybe like, you know, getting married at 16 and having a kid at 17 and kind of like life was just that. And it was hard because I didn't have anybody else like to lead the way for me, right? So some of my cousins who were boys actually came to the US to study and work. So they would actually bring back these pictures of snow and fall color leaves and all that. And that was so awesome because I mean, I've never seen snow in India, right? There's only a place called Kashmir in India, northern part of India is where there is snow, but we can't afford to go travel. I mean, travel is like a luxury. Like maybe you can travel to any of these places maybe once in your lifetime if you can save enough. It's that hard. Things have changed now, but I mean, when I was growing up, like we barely had enough to eat. And my parents actually had to make a choice to send my brother and I to school. So I just got lucky. I don't know how, but I actually ended up going to a Montessori, to a Catholic school because I think just because I was the only girl in my dad's 7 brothers family, and they kind of doted on the first girl, I guess. So my parents sent me to private school, and which was very hard for us, like every month, you know, paying the fee. It wasn't a lot, but it still was hard for them. And that's where I actually learned about I mean, I actually, yeah, because we were a Catholic school, I knew about Jesus and Mother Mary, and we were singing a lot of songs, and I ended up reading Bible. But I'm also born into a Hindu family. So our culture is a little different. And we rented a house in a Muslim's household. So I actually ended up learning Arabic and reading Quran. So when I was younger, like, I mean, I think before I was in 7th grade, I actually read 3 different religious scriptures and was trying to follow, like, you know, okay, what is this? Like, I mean, what is everybody talking? And at the end, one thing that actually kind of stuck with me, and I think that's what I carry with me now, is all religions and everybody preaches the same thing. You know, the core values are the same. Like, you know, be kind to everybody, speak gently, and share what you have, right? There is enough for everyone. And that has become very powerful for us. And when my journey to US was a little different because I didn't have money to go to study here. It's a lot, right? Like my dad couldn't afford. So when we are growing up in India, like parents actually start saving money and buying gold, because when we are older, they have to give something called dowry. So if a boy has to marry me, like my parents are supposed to pay them money, that family money, and also give jewelry as a collateral. I don't know what it is. It's almost like a down payment kind of concept is what I think. So, so they start like saving for that and start buying jewelry. So when I finished my undergrad and when I wanted to come to the US, I found one computer course that I could do where I pawned that jewelry of mine. Actually, a cousin of mine was working in a bank, so he said like he'll give me a good, like he'll give me the money that I need. So I actually pawned that jewelry, and that was $8,000 equivalent in 1997. And the deal was like in a year I would go to US and then repay the debt and clear the jewelry. I didn't tell my dad. My mom and my brother were okay with it, so we just did it and just asked for forgiveness. And my dad got upset and he left the house. So we have a family business. So dad went there and he didn't speak to me for a couple of years actually. So I know it was hard, but I really wanted to see the US. I mean, I wanted to touch the snow. I wanted to see the fall leaves. Those are like, I mean, it sounds crazy now thinking about it, but then I really wanted to see if I can prove myself and actually somebody would give me a job for who I am, not because I'm somebody's daughter or somebody's sister, because that's how systems work in India. And also I didn't want to get stuck just marrying and having kids. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's what I do now. I gave up my career and I take care of the kids and I decided to stay home, but I wanted to have that choice. So little did I know at that time that, there's something called the work permit visa and the green card and citizenship and all that, right? So if you come on a H1 for computers, like you can't work in any other industry. And also that's not a guarantee that you're going to get a job. So you have to still interview here. So when I came here, I didn't get a job. And I challenged my dad and said like, I'll come back in a year and I'll repay all my debts and, I'll be fine. And he challenged me and said like, you'll come back crying in 6 months. And so I came in end of May, 1998, June, July, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a job for 3 months. And I was interviewing and people wouldn't give me a job because I didn't have work experience. And how would I get work experience without a job? So I was trying to logic and it didn't work. And then what happened was my resume got sent to different consulting companies. And one of the I didn't know that at that time. So he sent my resume out and I got, I did very well in the interview and in Nike in Oregon, I got a job and I was excited and I was talking to the project manager and I said, hey, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. I was struggling like to get a break and thanks for giving it to me, especially a person with no experience. And he's like, what? You have 2 years of experience. And I said, no, I don't. And I said, I just came like 3 months back. And what happened was that the consultant actually faked my resume and put in 2 years of experience. And so, of course, like I didn't get a job. And the consultant called me and he was so upset. And he said, you just screwed up your life. You can't get a job and you'll have to go back to India. And I said, but I never gave you permission to, cook up experience, because what would I do when I go to the client place? When I don't have experience that you claimed, they're going to let me go as well. And that doesn't really gel with me at all, because integrity is a very, very important part of who I am, and I'll learn it, right? So it took me another month, but then I actually pitched this concept to one of the project managers who gave me the first break, saying like, I'll come on board the project. So don't pay me anything for a month. Just give me accommodation and I'll go. And this was my first break in Kansas City for a pharmaceutical company. And I went in for a week and I stayed there for 9 months. And even the consulting company's president actually flew in to say, like, give me a farewell party. And it was so awesome. I actually started making a scrapbook with everybody I meet and ask them to write about like, what they think about me, because I wanted to take it back to India and share it with my parents about what people think about, whether I can do the job or not, right? That's the challenge that I came up with. So that is my journey to US. And then I traveled around working. And then in Seattle in 2000, I met my husband volunteering for the nonprofit. And then I worked in San Francisco when 9/11 happened. And we were actually getting married that year in October. So all the flights were canceled. So he drove from Seattle to California. And then we drove back to Seattle from where I went to India. And then after coming back, I got my green card. Raja works at Microsoft. So we got the green card, and then the first thing I wanted to do was work in McDonald's. The reason is I realized, like, when I was working in the software industry, I was asked to do prepare a W-2 form for one of the clients. And I didn't know a lot of differences between all this part-time employees and a lot of benefits. So that's when I realized, like, what my perception was about the US is not what it is actually. I thought like everybody makes, like, the way people make in the software world is what the bubble that I saw. But then when I interviewed a lot of people in my HR department, there were people like who were making minimum wages, which was like $8 or $7.50 at that time. And I didn't know how they could manage, right? And then I started like talking to a lot of people and kind of creating my own story. And I realized one thing. I actually have, I guess, like a calling is what I think I can call it. I really love to volunteer and do what I'm good at. So I decided to go in the nonprofit world and started doing fundraising for nonprofits. And this is just a voluntary thing. And the reason I actually chose that was whenever I look at a problem, it doesn't look like a problem to me, whether it's fundraising or whether bringing up solutions, because that's what I did for work as well. So I have a way I can look at patterns. And I took up a very, very simple thing, right? Like we're looking at how India is so poor, right? Like, I mean, 80% of India is agriculture based. And there's like the difference between the rich and the poor is very, very, I mean, it's a lot. There's like maybe like less than 1% of the people who control the entire economy. And, but there's no person who goes hungry, and everybody watches out for each other. Even now during COVID, like everybody is like cooking together. And I mean, not with social distancing, but they're sharing the resources. They're growing their own vegetables, and farmers are actually creating like more food. And everybody is pitching in. Like there's a more of the barter system that's happening because there's no money to be exchanged. And there is so much to learn. So I actually took that part of it and started putting that into like working with a lot of nonprofits here. And that's where I think Eric actually, I was talking to Eric one day and got to know about Peggy Ray's Arlington Resource Center. And that's how I ended up actually coming and meeting her. And we were talking and talking, and then she's like, oh, I have to go somewhere to a meeting. And would you like to join me? And that's how I got introduced to the Rotary. And the reason I'm sharing all this is Arlington actually became very, very special for me personally, because 3 years back, my husband played a prank on me saying, so this is the only thing, the ring, this little ring, is the one that my husband gave me as an engagement gift. And after this, like, I never let him buy me any present, no cards, no flowers, because I don't like stuff. But I always teased him saying, I want 1 acre of land, because I grew up in the city and I always wanted to have like an acre of land and then maybe grow some stuff and do something. And so he found a property in auction that he found in Arlington, which has a beautiful arena and like 12 horse stall and all that. It was abandoned when we got it, but we remodeled everything, and now there's animal rescue operation that is happening there. We rented it to somebody who's working on that. But that, when he bought that, like that became like, you know, introduction to Arlington. And then we started walking in the downtown Arlington and getting to know Arlington a little bit better. And then started working in Redmond city about homelessness, because my kids started noticing homeless people a lot. And then they said, Mom, how can we help? And the city of Redmond, because we have a lot of money here, they didn't want to use like a lot of proposals that we were giving. And then I was like, oh, maybe Arlington. Like, I mean, and in fact, like they gave me an idea where I can actually look at other cities which are still developing and they might be more open. And so a few friends and other investors together, we actually figured out like there's something called opportunity zone investment, and looked at some properties and got it in Old Smoky Point Road, exactly opposite to Peggy's Arlington Resource Center. And we're trying to figure out like if we can actually create, I don't know what to call it. Like, I mean, whether it's affordable, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I mean, a place where people can actually live, work, and also like call it home, and where local community can actually stay there and call it home. And I mean, the project plan is still happening, but yeah, so that's it. There's a lot to talk, but I think I talked a lot. I would love for all of you to, I mean, like, if there's anything you want to ask or.
So Madhu, what's the foundation that's related to books that you're involved with?
Oh, yeah. I started a nonprofit called Joy of Reading. So again, I grew up without books, right? Like, I mean, pretty much like I read newspapers, and the free dictionary that I got from the Bible study group is how I learned my English. Because so I just found this out like 10, 12 years back, that in a half price bookstore, or like even with all the, I mean, some of the nonprofits, like where we donate books, if they don't have space to sell them, or like if they have an overload, they'll actually put it in landfill. And so that's how I realized, like, you know, I can actually take the books from here and start off libraries. So I started libraries in India. We have more than 100 now, but these are all in schools. And I work with nonprofit partners there. So we don't have any employees or any overheads. And even these books are actually taken by people when they're going to India, they'll take it in suitcase. So a 50-pound suitcase can carry almost 200 books, and 200 books can start a library in India. And that's how I started. And I always believe in like, I mean, just like how Rotary does, right? Like we all work together and then like work on projects and empower people. So it's a similar concept, and it's going so well. In fact, if there was no COVID issue and shipping, I have 15,000 books sitting in our house right now, which we are going to send to different parts of India. And I also have libraries in Nepal. And I have been collaborating with people in Africa and other parts of the world too, because it's easy. I mean, a lot of times people think it's very hard to start something or do something. For me, it's more of just engaging with people. And Microsoft actually supports a lot. So I have Microsoft volunteers who come in and help me with book sorting and all that, because we just don't send any random books. We level the books based on the reading level in India and all that and send it. And so every time somebody volunteers for us for an hour, we get $25 donated from Microsoft. So that's how like we take care of our overheads. And 2 years back, I actually bought like a mobile van for one of the schools in India, one of the nonprofits, so that they could go to more schools and run libraries. So yeah, I mean, again, for me, when you give me a figure, to raise funds, I can think about like a lot of different ways of doing it because that comes naturally to me. And yeah, and other than that, I love gardening. So that's another thing we did this year because I'm working with a lot of nonprofits talking about like people losing jobs and how are they going to eat and all that. So we actually, I don't know if I can even show you. Can you see down here from, I mean, that's my next door neighbors, but I don't think you can see it very well. I'll share the pictures later. But we went and got pallets, the shipping pallets, and then built containers out of it and got some soil. So within $100 was the budget for the kids and I. And we got our seed starts from co-ops and all that. And we have been growing vegetables for as a family. And then we are donating it to, I mean, we're making actually recipes, how to cook healthy, nutritious meals with stuff that we get here in less than $100 a week. A family of 4 can eat like meat and protein, and I mean all the 4 meals a day. I mean 3 meals a day. So the kids actually have been doing all that stuff. So yeah, that's it. I talked too much. I'm done.
What lake are you on there? Lake
Oh,
Cement?
it's West Lake Sammamish.
Okay.
Yeah, this is actually a luxury that again came to us because for the nonprofit fundraisers, like we end up spending like almost $10,000 a night. So we have enough space here that we can actually host nonprofit events. So we got that, like, and downstairs, like I have like a whole basement to do a lot of work, and kind of I'm planning to actually create it as a workspace for other nonprofits to have meetings because it has a separate entrance. So just doing all the stuff because it's just a community thing, I guess.
Madhu, everything that you're doing is just wonderful, and I think as the Arlington Rotary Club, we're blessed to have you as part of the club. I was wondering, with everything that you're doing, do you have anything to where? Because I mean, everything that you're doing is just it's put towards service for other people, but it's also pretty ambitious. Do you have anything that you're like, this is what I want to do in the next year, this is what I want to do in the next 5 years, or what is it that you're aiming towards?
So a couple of things. I mean, I think as Madhu, I want to do, I'm actually developing some processes. Like what I'm doing is like I'm connecting a lot of nonprofits around the world and learning, especially during COVID. I mean, one thing that I haven't seen, and this is new to us, is how much of a difference there is in terms of support system. A lot of people are feeling lonely. A lot of people are feeling sad. And I mean, I can't see sadness. I just have to figure out like what to do. So this 1 year, I mean, especially now, one thing that I've started doing is like connecting people and resources. So I'm really working with a lot of small businesses, and I don't want them to go out of business. And I don't know how we're going to save them, but I have plans, and I'm working with cities and even like, I mean, Microsoft and a lot of people like to start supporting. For example, like a friend of ours has a coffee shop in downtown Seattle. They can't afford the rents, and they can't afford to keep like the 7 employees they have, right? So they had to shut down. So I've helped them like, connect with a lot of people I know, and then set up like an online business to survive for some time. And also understand like, how all of us can support each other. And there are a lot of processes. And I mean, I know I don't have much time to talk about all that, but that is one thing. As a human being, how can I make a difference, right? And that is one of my core strengths, like connection. And I'm actually working with Peggy. She's been so awesome, like helping, I mean, both Nathan and Peggy actually helped me understand about what is crisis management and how do they support people, right? Especially the Osho mudslide and all their journey. they shared that, and that was so powerful. So I'm actually coming up with something which I think I will talk to all of you later. I'll put something together. I don't want to talk so much, but I'll put some materials together and share. And 5-year plan, actually we have one. So that is like, I still have to meet with the mayor, and I think I met with Peggy, I forgot the name again. Remember the social worker and the police officer who worked with the homeless shelter who gave a presentation? Professor, Officer
Ken.
Officer
Officer
Ken
Ken
Thomas.
McCartney.
Yeah.
Ken
So
McCartney.
I actually got to meet both of them a couple of weeks back. So this is on one of our properties where we are having some issues, where some unfortunate things are happening. And so we are trying to help people to move, and also work with the city on helping clear up some places, and actually coming up with this housing plan, which I don't know. I mean, we've never built a house. We both don't even know how to operate any tools. So when all of you say like we're fixing something, and I'm like, oh, I want to come and watch. So there is a lot of brainstorming that needs to happen. But what we envision is like maybe a few thousands of families will call these places home. And one of the model that I'm hoping might work is like a Habitat for Humanity kind of model, where people might be able to rent to own kind of thing, or build your own house. But I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of ideas right now. So thanks for asking that, Stephen.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you.
And one thing is, if we actually were going to meet in person, I had plans for cooking Indian meal and giving it to you. But guess what? My kids actually just brought this. Like they made a scone. That's their version of a scone, lemon scone for the first time. So they brought it. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to present, and inviting me to be a part of this amazing group, because every meeting I am so excited to come. And my husband was making fun of me the other day. I don't know why she's so excited for every Thursday. And she's like, no, I can't cancel this. And sorry, last week I was not feeling well, so I couldn't join. I was in a lot of pain. So I had to go see my doctor at that time.
Well, thank you, Madhu. You know, you kind of seemed overwhelmed that it was going to take you had till 1 o'clock, but here it is, it's 1 o'clock. So good job. Just a reminder, tonight we have a social